everyone, welcome to this episode of Ben's Boat Bramble. I'm going to be polishing one side of Bramble and maybe a bit more if the frost on the roof and the other side thaws a bit. I'm also going to be talking a bit about boat security. So most of the ice has started to melt on the roof and on the side, so I'm just giving it a wipe over to try and dry it as best I can before I start adding some WD-40 on a cloth. This is a part that I haven't done. You can see lots of dried watermarks, and the part that I have done it, you can't see anything at all apart from where the water's dripping down. I'm now grabbing a dry cloth. Here's one I made earlier. And now along the length of Bramble's side there's no streaks. All you can see is the drips of water, and they're beading nicely. And yeah, it just helps everything run off and the dust particles don't cling to the surface. So it really helps the shine to last as long as it can. Let's talk about security. So firstly, this is just a list off the top of my head. There's probably some that I'm forgetting. So if you're a boater and you can think of something else, just drop it in the comments. I'd be interested to hear. So before we go into security options, it's important to know what you're up against, what type of vandals and thieves there are out there. So firstly, there are opportunists. They're the type of thief that will just be walking past and on the off chance see an opportunity, smash a window, grab something and run. Next, you've got the random vandal. That's like groups of teenagers up to no good, looking for an adrenaline rush, you know, chuck a stick or a stone, jump on the boat and run. And sometimes for a confrontation as well. You also have people who've been drinking, being in central London or around London. You've got lots of drunk people on the weekends. They'll do silly things basically. So yeah, that's something to look out for. You've got the other opportunist thief who will just take stuff from the roof, the bow or the stern, so not actually try and get into your boat, but try and take things from outside that's not even locked up, you know, like a bag of coal or some wood or ornaments, that sort of thing. The next one's a bit more serious. So you have what I would call crews of thieves or organised thieves who scope out a job. They'll send someone to take pictures or look for signs that no one's in the boat, and they will either get into your boat to strip it for parts, so take anything that's valuable, as in electronics for the boat, wires, solar panels, you know, anything for the motor or the electrical system that they could see value in to sell on. You also have thieves that will actually steal your boat. They will tow it away. It's not hard to untie a boat. You can tow it away with another boat. They might paint it during the night time and then try and sell it on for really cheap over the next couple of days. And they'll do that at night time, so less people see the boat, so it's harder to find. So there's a few signs that you can look out for in terms of what you don't want to be moored next to. Signs that you're about to become a job, you know, your boat's going to be broken into soon. And here's a few of them. So on a few of the boating forums that I'm on, some people say that things are sometimes left near their door or on their bow. And we think that's for the thieves to see if anyone's in. So if they put something random on the bow or the stern or the roof, if it gets moved, taken off or thrown away, that's an indication that someone's there, someone's been there to move that. If whatever they've put on the boat is still there in a couple of days' time or a few hours or whatever, it's a sign that no one's in. So it's a good thing to check if anything's been left around on your boat on the exterior, and if it has, move it. A lot of people take pictures of boats on the canals, but there are signs to look out for. People that are staring through the windows for a bit too long, taking a lot of pictures of your boat, which could be in preparation to break in, or to show other people who are going to break in. So keep an eye out for people doing that, and inform other boaters if you see that. You might see someone or a group of people hanging around seemingly doing nothing, but they might just be loitering for a bit too long, waiting for the coast to be clear. So if that does happen, keep an eye from a distance maybe. If you're suspicious, maybe call 101, which in the UK is a non-emergency number. You can alert the police about things that you're worried about or suspicious about. There are lots of things you can do to improve your boat security. I have written out a little list, so I'll just go through them. I won't talk too much about what I do on my own boat. That's for obvious reasons. You know, anyone watching this video might come past one day, be a thief and think, oh, I know all about that boat. So I'm not going to talk about what I've done to secure this boat. I think that would be a bit silly, but I will go through options. I might have some of them, I might not have some of them. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about my own. So firstly, you've got the obvious security choices. You've got CCTV, closed circuit CCTV. If you have mobile internet, you can connect that and have it even if you're not here, and be notified if there's movement inside your boat or even around your boat. You've got motion sensing alarms that will go off if there's too much vibration. I used to use one for my gardening vehicle. So lights can be a deterrent. If all of your blinds or your shutters are closed, even if there's a little bit of a glow from the inside, people might see that as a sign that someone's in. I think one of the best things you can do for your boat security is to move regularly. If your boat is in a different place every week or every few days, I think it makes the likelihood of an organised crime happening. You will still get the opportunist, because they're just everywhere, aren't they? In and around cities and out of cities, but you know, it's more common in and around cities. So one thing that is great for peace of mind is a tracker. I will say I do have a tracker hidden on board. So if you are thinking about it, don't, because I will find you. To quote a famous line from a film. Yeah, it's quite good for peace of mind. If you're away at work or away for a couple of days, it's nice to know that your boat's still where it should be, and you get notifications if there's movement as well. It can be stationary movement, or it can be when the boat's actually moving along, you know, traveling. So that's really useful to have. You can see exactly where it is within a couple of meters, and it's easy to find. I think that mooring near other boaters can make you feel a bit more secure. It won't necessarily stop crime from happening, but it can help with that sense of community. You know, if one boater's away, the other boaters will look out for their boat and that sort of thing. So yeah, mooring in a group, even if you don't know the boaters, most boaters do look out for each other, so that's one option. So here's one that I only considered the other day after hearing another boater say it. Another boater's considering putting a baby on board sticker in their windows. He thinks that will be a great deterrent, because people are less likely, it's a bit more serious to go into a space where it's visible, there's signs that there's children inside. It becomes a lot more serious then. So I think that is actually a great way to deter thieves. So I actually think that's a great idea. So if you're a boater, there's lots of boating forums on Facebook and other social media, and blogs in their own right as well, where people will mention if there's suspicious activity or if a crime's happened. So wherever you are in the UK canal system, it's quite easy to find out the news of what's happening, and I find that quite good, useful, and for peace of mind, to know where stuff's happening, where people think is quite a nice spot. So that's a good thing to look out for. Another one that I heard recently is there's a guy who leaves his curtain open to show that there's nothing inside to steal. So he'll have, you know, a sofa and an old blanket, and that's about all that can be seen from the window. That's quite a good one as well. So you have nothing on of value on view, and that will deter people because they'll think, oh, I'm not going to risk getting in trouble if there's nothing to take. So so that's worth thinking about, you know, keeping your valuables, anything that looks expensive, away from the windows, which I tend to do as well. I don't like showing, you know, everyone has a phone, but I don't like to show it near the windows. Where you moor can play an important part in boat security. So mooring next to a big picnic bench might be a bad idea, especially around city areas, because you'll get groups of people, you know, just hanging around with nothing else to do, and they'll see your nice boat next to their bench and think, oh, that's something to disturb, that's something to do, let's get an adrenaline rush. So so I tend to try not to moor near benches where people might hang out. If there's nowhere to sit down, I think that's a good thing. Thankfully, this past year I've only had one incident, and it was very minor. It was 3 teenagers near Victoria Park in central London, just chucking stuff in the canal and at boats and near boats. I did end up calling the police because they were getting a bit mouthy and threatening to rob people, which I take quite seriously. I know some people might not call the police for that, but the youths in London, you know, a lot of them are carrying knives, wearing balaclavas, so I think they're emboldened and have a sense of anonymity. So it's best to be on the side of caution, really. I think that's about enough security talk. There is maybe one more thing. Having a boat dog can be a great deterrent. You know, I know quite a few boaters who have German Shepherds and Rottweilers, but I am wholly against getting a dog for security. Dogs can be a deterrent in their own right, but don't just buy one for security. Get a dog if you love a dog. So I'm now going to go for a little walk. I'm going to take you with me, and I'm going to see what's north of this direction. I've not been past this part of Greenford on foot. I've only done it by boat, so I think it's good to get a point of view from a different perspective. It's still very cold outside. It's almost 3 o'clock and the ice hasn't melted. I'm super happy with the results of the WD-40 polish. It's just occurred to me that I did miss something out from the security list, and that is grills and shutters for windows. Obviously that will make it a lot harder for someone just to punch or kick at a window to try and get in. I love this time of year, especially along the canals. To quote Robbie Cumming, it's like the golden hour is all day long, because the sun never goes much higher than near sunset time at other times of year. So yeah, it's lovely. You get lovely light at this time of year. See where the one boat that went through this morning actually stopped. All the shards of ice they pushed up along the way. They're braver than I am. I don't think I'll do that with Bramble unless it's very, very, very thin ice. The kid in me really wants to chuck a stick on the water, but since becoming a boater, and before that maybe, I know that I worry about things getting stuck in my propeller, so I don't put anything in the water, no matter how organic it is, just for that reason. Even a stone, you know, eventually that will build up and cause shallower canal waters. So certain boats need to be more careful around ice, because when boats go past, thicker sheets of ice can come against the hull and make cracks and sink a boat. So at this time of year, if you have a GRP boat, I think they're called, or any sort of fiberglass hull or plastic hull, you can put planks down the side of your boat, which will be a buffer between the sharp shards of ice and the boats. I feel a bit sorry for ducks and swans and moorhens and coots at this time of year. Being a gardener and all-around plant lover, it is nice to see different types of plants that you might not know the names of, because there's always something to learn. I don't think any gardener or horticulturalist can claim to know every single plant name. So every day's a school day, and there's always something to learn. This is for any of you who are scouts or scout leaders, or cubs or beavers. I've seen this boat a few times, and they do have a website, so I'm going to be checking this out. I was a scout, and once a scout, always a scout, so yeah, I quite like seeing this boat. I've walked a couple of miles away from Bramble now, back in Greenford, and I don't really know what area I'm in. But sometimes that's nice. Sometimes it's nice to feel like you're not in London and the canal is all there is. It's a nice way of escaping the city and a form of escapism in general. As I mentioned in the last video, I did start a Buy Me a Coffee account, and someone did donate to it since the last video, so thank you very much. It really means a lot, and I was so happy and surprised to see that, so thank you so much. And if you did want to check that out and support the channel, myself and Bramble, then check it out. I'll put a link in the description. I love to see the remnants of older industrial times, massive factories and things along the water. I am going to try and get a bit more clued up about that sort of thing, so that I can add a bit of history of what's been happening over the last couple of 100 years along the canalways. And yeah, I hope to learn a lot myself as well. So there you go, on that sign it says 0.5 miles to Northolt, which is across there. I just thought this bridge would be a nice vantage point to look at the canals from above. I think this bridge is a nice place to end the video, so thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, and yeah, see you very soon.